You liking Florida better than San Diego? Can't hear you. You're muted.
Okay, good.
There you are.
All
So
right.
how do you like Florida versus California?
Like I said, I'm here in California, but
Oh,
I mean,
you are? Okay.
I wish.
I
No, I'm
thought
in
you had
Florida.
moved to Florida.
I did move to Florida, and it's okay here. It's still warm
Okay.
weather. It's not as
That's
pretty
true.
a state, but it's okay.
Okay. Holly and Daniel are headed out that way Friday, I think.
Are they? Yeah,
Yeah.
see a lot of them are down here. A lot of the kids are down here.
She hasn't been able to be out there for a long time.
Right.
Hello, Joe Arabia. You're muted too. It's Margaret. There, is that better?
Robert Smith. Down here. I was muted. I thought it was.
Hello, Rhea.
Hi, how are you, Margaret?
Good. Haven't seen your daughter in a while because I haven't been to the chapel for a long time.
Oh, I know. I don't think she goes. I don't know if she goes yet or not.
Martha sees her when she's there.
Oh,
They
that's
saw
good.
her about 3 weeks ago, I think.
How are you doing? How you feeling?
I'm okay. How are you?
Good. Good.
Staying healthy?
Yeah, we try. We try.
I was telling somebody tonight, I said, the thing about Zoom that's interesting is it's a New Jersey Bible class, and the brother, I don't know whether he's in Florida or California, but he's not in, I don't think he's in Jersey.
Yeah. Funny.
I've been on stuff with people from India, New Zealand, Australia, England. It's amazing.
It is.
It is. We went to Bible school last summer, and the teachers
Yeah.
were from all over the
That
world.
guy
Oh,
looks
yeah.
like Sam.
That's when we saw the most. Hello, MJ.
Hi there.
Mm.
Hello, Aaron.
Hello, Miss Margaret.
You staying busy?
Very much so. It's midterm season, so
Oh, okay.
lots
When
of
do you get spring
exams.
break?
I don't get a spring break.
You don't?
Decided that this academic year there would be no breaks except for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Woo!
So I get to go from the beginning to the end with weekends, and that's it.
You'll be glad when May gets here.
Yes, I am ready for a break.
All right, it's time to go incognito.
I don't have.
Don't have regular, you don't go regularly to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I know if I don't go, I have some trouble, and I'll start getting like shooting pains in my stomach and that. But once I go, I'm fine.
Hold on, Mom. Hold on. a
Hello,
minute.
Rhoda.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a look here at the inbox. All right, it just came around.
All right, bye. Margaret Smith?
That is.
Hi. I haven't seen
Hi.
you in years.
You're right.
How have you been?
Been good. How have you been?
Good, thanks. Thanks for asking. Where do
Seeing
you
lots
live
of
now?
faces, Evans.
See what's going on?
Pardon?
Spice Fix. That's the new spicy Szechuan McChicken. And that's the Ghost Pepper. The spiciest of all. Try all three before hottest work.
Lots of faces I haven't seen in a long, long time.
Yeah, yeah.
Has anybody told you you look like that Michael Bublé guy? You pineapple buble and you peach buble. It's buble. Kinder Bueno. Whoa. It's crispy. It's
Well, we'll see how many people get on there tonight, Nick.
a crispy wafer and creamy hazelnut filling. It's Kinder Bueno.
Rhoda, how are you?
Oh, there she is. Oh, wow. Your hair
Yeah.
did go white.
I know. That's what COVID does to you.
Have to look twice.
I've got
Well,
to
I
keep
know
up
about
with
that.
you. I got to keep
Yeah.
up with you.
That's essential.
Jonathan,
Oh, there's your brother, and there's Linda.
Hi, Rhoda.
Skin
This
ones.
is nice seeing everybody.
Sam, hi, Sam.
hey, Mary Jane, how are you?
Good.
Damn, I saw your face and was trying to figure out who it was. Then I saw your name. I said,
Margaret.
that's who that is.
Long time.
You're right.
Brought to you by Winnebago. For over
Brought
60
to, brought to you by Winnebago. What is Winnebago?
Hello, John Farrer.
See, Linda doesn't have gray hair.
I hit the bottle.
Maybe that's what I need.
Hey, Linda.
Hi, Sammy.
Rhea, I haven't seen you for about 65 years.
Wow.
It was just her birthday. Rhea, were you about 80 now?
Oh, I got your card today, brother.
Did you like that?
Thank you very much. I'll have nightmares for weeks.
I sent her a funny birthday card.
Keep you laughing.
That's why one has sisters and not brothers.
Now, I spoke to Angela Arabia during this week just to check in on them, and she said something about the class in Canada. They just do audio. Do you guys do Zoom or you just do audio? Do you guys do the video Zoom where you can see each other, or is it just an audio feed?
It doesn't.
We do Zoom every week so we
Oh,
can
you
see.
do? Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But I must have misunderstood her. I said,
It's not plugging in. No.
okay, sounds good.
She might just use the audio part of it. Not
Pro-
everybody
probably.
uses the video
That's
part.
probably it.
How's Ralph, Linda?
Good, thank you.
Been thinking about him and you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, tell him we said hi.
Will do.
Been a while.
Oh, man, is that Margaret? Margaret.
Am I that far away from seeing everybody?
I'm trying to fix this
Yes,
thing.
Mark.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Maybe that's better.
No, I don't hit the bottle, and no, my hair's not white.
Oh, wow.
And we haven't changed that much. I can recognize all of you if I
Yeah.
just look carefully.
Oh, that's good.
Oh, you know
You
what?
look at me, you see
Spell
my
it wrong.
father, he never changed, neither do I.
RRINOTA. Joe Arabia's on.
Wow, is that MJ? Oh, my word.
Joe
Faces from
has
the,
a lot of books. Joe Arabia.
We'll start in about a minute.
hi, Linda.
Hi.
Hi.
Oops, another.
Oh, there's Rhoda.
Yeah, yeah.
Here's me.
Good, thanks.
All right, Sam, since you're talking, why don't you open with a prayer?
There's Mary Jean. She's got gray hair. Jonathan's there.
Julie, you're not muted.
Yeah, we're gonna open with a prayer.
There's Rhoda.
I didn't hear, me, Nick?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy great and most holy name. We thank thee, Heavenly Father, for all thy many wonderful blessings, especially the blessings we take for granted, our health, our strength, and our daily food. We thank thee, Father, for allowing us to gather here to read more of thy word, which is able to make us wise unto salvation as we study Moses and his life and your children Israel, and how we can learn the lessons from the travels now through the wilderness and concentrate wholly upon thy word. We pray, Father, it might be with all those that are less fortunate than us, those that need thee at this very hour, those that are in need. Be with us, Father. Guide us, direct us in these dark days as we wait for thy Son soon return back to this earth to set up that great and glorious kingdom. In that day, Father, we all ask for a place therein, and we ask this prayer through your Son's name, Jesus the Christ, our high priest and mediator. Amen.
Okay. That have not been here, this is not a lecture. I don't do lecture classes. I have participating classes. There's a way of raising your hand to make a comment. I know it's hard to find on the screen because there's like 3 screens going for here. And I usually see one up. You can have yourself be seen on it or not. It's up to yourself. I know most of us know about Moses and his travel and all the things that have occurred. That's not what the class is all about, really. It's about things that when we read Moses, I'll just give just a little bit of a highlight how we've been doing. As we read it, people like I've been, usually when I read the story, I blow through it because you know it so well. Now that I have more time on my hands, I don't have to do that. So I started reading it much more finer. And there's a lot of things that you miss by saying, well, I know the story and I want to blow through it. And that's what we've been doing in the class, pointing out things that we kind of don't think about too much. We just go through it and just hit the highlights because that's what we know. And so what we're up to right now in the class is we just went through the 10th plague, and we were going down, and I wanted to backtrack just a little bit for the class because there's one thing we were talking about last week. There's little things, like I said, you point out in the class, and one of the things was we talked about in verse, Margie brought this up, it was about verse in chapter 12, verse 32, Exodus 12, verse 32. There was something else I wanted to bring up about something more on that. But I wanted the question, but I was going to ask the class tonight, because we know the story. Did Pharaoh and did the Egyptians just want the Israelis out of there, Israelites out? They just want them out and be gone. That's the question for tonight. Is that what they wanted? Is that what it says? I mean, when we read through these verses, all right, verse 31, 12:31, and he called Moses and Aaron by night and said, rise up, get you forth out from among your people, both ye and your children of Israel, and go and serve the Lord as ye have said. So was that kicking them out? That's the question.
Yeah, I put them in.
So I need either a hand from somebody or I need a voice from somebody on this.
Yeah, Nick, it seems that that's exactly what they wanted to do. They wanted them all out of there because it was a horrible thing. It woke them all up in the middle of the night, and all the cries were phenomenal. And then they asked them, please leave.
Okay, is that the opinion then? Is there any other opinion on it? That's what the opinion is? Okay, let's read it. Let's look at that verse a little bit more, because when you first read it, this is what I'm saying. When you first look at it.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm good. My name's Kel.
Okay.
Craig's patched in from the hospital.
Okay, yes, okay. All right, so 12:31. Listen to the words he says here again. He says, rise up, get you forth from among my people, both ye and the children of Israel. Then what it says after that, and go serve the Lord as ye have said. Isn't it been through this whole thing that they came in and they said, we want to go serve the Lord. And then Pharaoh would say, well, you men can go. And then it would be, okay, you could take the kids with you. He kept leaning and giving him a little bit more each time. After a certain plague, he would give him a little bit more. So now the battle hasn't been really with Israel. The battle's been with God. This is the point I see here. The battle's been with God. And so it's like, yeah, get out of here quick and go serve God, because we want this to stop. That's what I'm understanding here. Unless someone sees it differently. Go serve God. Go do what you said you wanted to do.
By mama.
So I don't know if you see it any other way than that he wants them out of there, go serve God, but he's not telling them to go away. Yeah, Ro.
The last thing it says, and also bless me,
Right.
which is a very strange.
Yeah, we talked about it last week, and we were thinking that because God was going to make Moses seem like a god to Pharaoh, that's he was saying it to him. But now when I look at it now, it seems like, no, you're going to go and serve God. You're going to go sacrifice to God. And when you're there, have him bless me. That's how I see it now. It's different.
Yeah.
But he's not throwing them out. That's what the point that I see. He's not saying, don't come back. Go do what you said you were going to do. You said you wanted to go serve God 3 days out. Go out and do it. So for further proof on, well, there's other stuff I wanted to look at too about this. Let's see, 12:33. This is the Egyptians now. Same chapter, verse 33. And the Egyptians were urgent upon the people that they might send them out of the land in haste, for he said we'd all be dead men. So he wanted them out of there. Okay, and it goes down and explains, how fast they had to get out of there. But remember, Moses had said to them, because God had told him, tell them to ask for things. Ask them. And they're going to give it to you. I'm going to show favoritism, and I'm going to let them give it to you. So when you look down in 35, and the children of Israel did according to the word of Moses, and they borrowed of the Egyptian jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment.
Nick,
Yeah, Joe.
children of Egypt recognized that all the firstborn were dead, both of people and of cattle. Everything in Egypt that was firstborn was dead. Now, what's the next logical thing that Moses would do to the children of Israel if they resisted and wanted to keep the children of Israel as slaves? The logical question, the logical item would be that Moses would kill all the Egyptians. Because if you kill the firstborn, that's one thing. But if you don't listen to that, then what's the next step that Moses is going to do? He's going to kill everybody. And that's why they feared and said, go. Because
Okay,
the next step was the annihilation of the entire nation of Egypt.
Yeah, they had that fear. That's true, Joe. But the thing is, it said they borrowed from the Egyptians.
They didn't borrow, they took.
They took.
They took.
But I looked it up in it, the words. But it said, well, I'm trying to, the Egyptians had a thought that these people might be coming back. Now, the reason I'm saying it because they gave him raiment. You say, why would they give him the jewelry? Why would they give him their raiment, the clothes to wear? These were poor slaves. They didn't have anything. And they were going to go worship their God. And they could say, we need these things to go worship God. And the jewels and the jewels and the gold and the silver that were given later on, we see were the things that they made the calf with. So they were earrings. It wasn't like they gave him blocks of gold or things like that. They gave him their jewelry to wear to go before God.
They spoiled Egypt, Nick.
I know that was the point of it.
Whatever the Israelites want, they took, and they became theirs, and they became a rich nation from plundering the Egyptians.
Right. Okay. So it says that they spoiled, but the thought, you can look down and it says they were given this by God, the favor that they would give him everything. And it does say, and they spoiled them. But it says, in 36, you look down, and so that they lent unto them such things as they required, lent it to them. They didn't give it to them. So didn't that mean that?
Well, maybe it's the perspective. Nick?
Well, that's what I'm saying from the Egyptian perspective. This is what I'm saying. We'll give them these things, but they're going to come back anyway. Because isn't that when we look down to with Pharaoh? When, because right now they're burying their dead too. We talked about this a little bit last week. They're burying their dead. We don't know how long it took for them to bury the dead.
Ron.
And so,
hey Nick,
yeah.
my thought would be too. I mean,
hi, Ron.
As a person, right? As a human being, would I want these people back after that?
Well, part of it is I think. Go ahead. I got another hand there.
I put a raised hand in.
Yeah, I know you put a raised hand, but someone else give me another hand.
Yeah, Ron was waving to Joe.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I had that thought too, but the thing that I thought on that, Mike, is this land has all been destroyed. Did the Egyptians want to go out and put everything back together? Or did they want their slaves back? You can go out and worship your God, but we want you back here. Put back our country together. And God will be pleased with us for letting you go out and worship him. That's what I'm thinking the Egyptian thought. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same thing, Nick. After all, they did go after him, didn't they? Yeah,
it seemed like it. The report. Go ahead. You remember Pharaoh gets a report.
I mean, they probably were gonna, take what slaves they wanted if they can catch them, like before they got through the Red Sea there, So I think that they thought they were gonna come back. They were doing what they said Pharaoh was letting them go for that 3 days into the wilderness to worship God, and that's what he was thinking, you know. And when they didn't come back, they went after.
Right. They brought a report to Pharaoh. They said to Pharaoh, they fled. They're gone. Wasn't that his whole thing through this whole process? Wasn't that what Pharaoh was trying to prevent from happening? Because, you know, you kept each stage was to keep something back there for them to come back. He didn't want to let everything go, which was, you know, God's design to do this. But I'm thinking on the Egyptians' perception. After all that they went through, they said, okay, we're going to let you go. Go worship God and you'll be back. Meanwhile, time's going by. Like we said last week, we don't know how long it took them to bury the dead. We don't know how long also it took them to gather up their army. You know, when we read it on the pages and it talks about it, it says, you know, they had special chariots, 600 chariots, but that wasn't all of them. They had all these chariots, you know, the time it would take to line up the army, get all these things in motion, you know, it's not ours. You know, the days have gone by here.
Hey, Nick, I got another thought to that. Would be even the Egyptians went out with them. They're a mixed multitude.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting that even the Egyptians went with them to worship their God. I mean, that's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of odd to think about, I guess.
Yeah, but after you've seen all those things, Mike, I would think you'd be.
Oh yeah. Yep. No, you're
Mark.
right there.
Yeah, Mark.
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Nick, that with things they've experienced and witnessed, and this is, I think, my point last week, that it had an effect on the Egyptians, just like I think some of the latter day events that will occur in our day will have an effect on the world. It won't be the multitudes, maybe, but it'll be a significant factor of people that will see that what we've been told has been lies. And what the Egyptians saw, I don't know how else you could come with any other conclusion. But my question to you, Nick, is, so you're saying the lent them the goods was like a loan? I'm a little confused of this spurious idea.
Well, I'm thinking it was, you know, God had said God had made it so that they would give him things. And I think that's how they were thinking. These people are coming back. So this, you could take our clothing and you can wear this in front of your God. They're slaves. What were they, in rags? They had nothing. You're going to go present yourself to your God. Yeah, take our, do what you got to do, type of thing. I think, you know, God, that's how the favoritism, I think, was given to them with God doing that. So they said, okay, yeah, you can take all this stuff. Then we're not worried about it, because and thought you're coming back here eventually anyway. You're just going out to pray to your God. So that's one thought. Yeah, it's just one thought that I didn't think of. You know, like everyone else, when you blow through this thing, you're right, get out. You know, yeah, they wanted them all out of there. Until you read, you know, where they come up to Pharaoh and they said, they're gone. They're not coming back. That's when, you know, you could see that it's changed. But what about last week? I said one thing we didn't hit, and that was Joseph. And they said his bones would be taken from them there. Okay. Well, some thoughts came in my head. Why is it in there? I mean, Joseph said, remember when you're going to leave here. He's telling, you know, this is like at least 200 years back. And I want you to take my coffin out of here. He was mummified. It does say he was mummified. Take it out of here and bring it with you, which they do. And the thought is what significance is that? What was he trying to tell us? That is it something to do where you're going to be buried in the future mean anything? Is that part of it? I mean, he left everyone else behind. His kids are buried there. His wife's buried there. You know, that all his brothers are all buried there, as far as we know. I don't think they got carried off. It's not mentioned, but but he made sure that he wasn't going to be buried there. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, his father Jacob, wanted the same thing. His father Jacob, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead. Jacob wanted the same thing.
He wanted the same thing. He says, when he was to be buried, he was buried back where his fathers were buried. And that's where he wanted to be. And Joseph is thinking on the same line. The rest of Israel is going out, so they're going back to Israel, but Joseph, he wanted to be back there in that same burial place. It's like, we have our own family plots, right? When we get buried, you're buried next to your wife or to your kids sometimes. And this is what we wanted. Don't forget, Joseph's a faithful man, thinking about what's going to take place in the future. If he believed the same things as Abraham did, which I believe that he did, he knows that there's a resurrection to take place.
Okay, so if you go to Hebrews 11, verse 22.
And Nick?
Go ahead.
Nick?
Yeah.
Looking at Genesis chapter 50.
We'll come back to that.
24.
We'll come back to that in a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, that's all right. But 11:22, all the things that Joseph did, what did they mention? By faith, Joseph, when he died, had made mention of the parting of the children of Israel and gave the commandment concerning his bones. Of all the things you could write about Joseph that he did, it's about him being taken out of there after he's gone.
It's about his faith. That's what it's all about,
It's his faith, right, John? It's showing his faith. But he had faith throughout his whole life, and it's just brought up on the last thing that he does. That he's not even there to see it.
Yeah.
But he knew that was going to happen. Go ahead, Joe.
Both Egypt. Oh, go ahead. Somebody?
Well, Dan wanted to hit that other verse. We'll come back to it.
Dan.
He wanted to go to.
Let Joe go.
All right, go ahead, Joe.
Okay. Both Egypt and Babylon represented the way of this world, the evils of this world. And believers have been called out of both Egypt and Babylon. And they were asked to go to a new place that God had designated for his servants, the promised land of Israel. So Egypt represents this world as well as Babylon represents this world. God called Abraham out of Ur of the Chaldees, and Moses and Joseph's bones had to be taken out of Egypt and brought to the promised land of Israel. So in type, it represents believers leaving the old country and traveling to the new kingdom of God, the nation of Israel, the land of Israel.
That's good, Joe. That's good.
Okay, good. All right, Dan, you wanted to go to Genesis 50, 22 to 24?
124 is really the verse I'm looking at. So, we always refer to the promises to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Joseph does the same thing, but he recognizes the promises to him too, because he's part of that lineage. He says, Joseph said to his brethren, I'm going to die. And he's, how sure his faith is, God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land. Now, he wasn't sure when. He knew about the promises. He probably knew about the 430 years that God told the 4 generations that God told Abraham that they would sojourn until they got to the promised land. So here's the faith of Joseph. Now Joseph is dead. We don't know how long exactly, but Joseph is dead. And then we read that there came along a Pharaoh that didn't know Joseph. And Acts chapter 7 gives us a little hint that it was about the time of Moses' birth, when they started the heavy slavery. So for a good 80 years, and maybe 100, but there's.
Oh, I think it was that. I was thinking about that.
But think about this. That whole generation now is gone, and the importance of the oath that they made, that Joseph made them take, He's dead at least 80 years, and they still remember to take his bones with them. That generation, they didn't forget Joseph. That's how great he was. His legacy carried on for almost
Oh, yeah.
100 years later.
And the point you were trying to make about when they started killing you don't know exactly when they started the slavery, but when they started to kill the children, it had to be within a few years of Moses. And the reason they say that, because why did they give Aaron's age? He was 83, he was 3 years older. They didn't try to kill
Right.
Aaron.
Right.
But 3 years later, they wanted to kill Moses.
Right. That's a
So
good
that's what I
point.
say. That's around the same time as Joseph's death, according to Acts 7. Gives you a hint.
Okay. All right. All right, so that was some of the things I wanted to get ironed out. Another thing about when they were leaving, and this is something I haven't ever thought of neither. Go to Exodus 13. 18. And it said in the Old English, I looked it up in the other versions too, but it says, but God led the people about through the way of the wilderness of the Red Sea, and the children of Israel went up harnessed out of the land of Egypt. It's an old word, harness. What did that mean? They were harnessed. Any thoughts about that? If you have a modern version, might have it spelled out differently.
I got orderly ranks.
Yeah, that's what I got. Yeah.
Okay, that's one of the things.
By 5 in rank. It says
what's
by
that?
5 in rank. My cross reference says by 5 in a rank.
By 5 in a rank?
That's what it says, yeah.
I
Okay.
have staunch, able-bodied soldiers, armed men. That's what I have as a kamash.
That's what Strong says.
Yeah, they were armed. That was the other thought I had. They were saying armed, but they did say, so when they went out, they said what they did is they put all the able-bodied men that were in good, like soldier, and they said in groups of 50. He was saying, John was saying 5, but there was multiplied groups of 50, and they put them at the front. You know, and like when you watch the movie, everybody went out, looked like in one big chaotic way. They didn't go out that way. They were, you know, they went out in a precise way. And later on, God even informs it that they had to go march in a certain way, and they had to go by each of the tribes in a certain way. But when they first left, they put the armed men up front. And I was thinking, what arms? Do you think the Egyptian allowed them to have arms? I mean, maybe they had clubs or sticks or you know, instruments for doing the ground, but they're not going to let them have swords. That was for sure.
Sorry, Nick, what's the reference?
It was Exodus 13:18.
Couldn't find it.
You
Well,
know,
that's-
Nick,
Yeah,
our Canadian brothers and sisters are awfully quiet. I hope they haven't been told to remain silent out of respect.
Hey,
Generally, they're very vocal people, so I'm just wondering why they're so quiet. Be nice to hear what their thoughts are on some of these questions you're raising.
Samuel, all of them are muted. They should unmute themselves.
well, if they want to say something, they unmute.
Yeah, they can
hear
unmute
it.
themselves, Joe.
Tell them how.
I'm sure they
Okay.
know.
They're on Zoom all the time. They should know how to unmute.
Yeah, they know how to do that in Canada.
You know?
They know how to
Okay.
unmute themselves.
I didn't know. Okay.
I'm just a landed immigrant, but I know.
You're 20.
I'm over that.
Okay. Someone has something to say, otherwise, go ahead, Mark, you saying something?
No, I just don't tell Marcia how to unmute. That's all. Everyone else should say something, really.
All right. Okay, so now when they're gonna go into, they're told how to go. Now, all the stories that we've always heard, what did you hear of the stories of when they were gonna leave and where did they cross the Red Sea? Who has, Linda, you got your hand up, Linda?
I think we discussed last week that there was different ways of crossing over. And it seems like they took they didn't take the shortest. Did we say they took the shortest route or they didn't take the shortest route when?
They didn't take the
They didn't
shortest
take
route.
the shortest
They didn't
route.
take the shortest route, right?
Right. They were told not, that God did not want them to go that way.
Right.
Up there.
But in all our studies, have you ever looked into the way they went? No, you haven't looked? Okay. Some
There's a
say yeah.
series- There's a documentary series that a lot of people in Richmond watched.
Okay.
On the different routes and which way did they go. And
Okay.
their most logical one was that they went across the middle
Okay,
and
we'll
went
get to
over
that.
to
That's
Sinai
right.
in Arabia.
All right, Margaret, we're gonna get to that. I'm gonna see if I can pull up the maps. I did put some maps aside and let me see if I can share them. Let's see.
Nick, I'm glad you have maps because they went from Ramesses. Do we know how far Ramesses is from the assumed crossover?
Okay, this from Ramses from the assumed crossover. I don't know. Look at these maps. What I did, you can go online and look up all kinds of maps that they had. And this is the one they said the traditional route that I have up there. And what I noticed was the names of the places are changed in different positions. So they don't know exactly where the cities were.
Oh.
They made it suit themselves. So when you look up top where you see, can you see the map up there? Everybody can
Yep.
see it? Okay.
Yeah.
The way of the land of the Philistines, that was the shortest route coming out from Ramses out. You could see that was the shortest route coming out. And the Philistines were in that area up to Gaza. God said, no, you can't go that way. What is told is to go by, cut across the Sukkot, I think it is. But in this map, it shows it right at that, right almost next to each other. And they barely show where they're gonna cross there. And for years, we used to hear the cross at the reeds.
Nah,
Yeah, I know that. Nah, I know that.
people trying to explain it naturally. You can't explain a
Right,
miracle naturally.
Okay. So, well, look at this one here. Do you see how that goes all the way down the Sinai Peninsula? And they
Yeah.
show Mount Sinai down there. Do you know how they got that to say that's Mount Sinai down there? Remember Constantine's mother, Helena? She picked that place. So from dreams, whether Constantine's dreams or her dream, she picks this place in Sinai. What was wrong with picking that place? Where was Moses for 40 years? He was in the land of Midian. He wasn't in the Sinai Peninsula. He was with Jethro. Okay. So Midian's on the other side. Now you see that it says the Gulf of Aqaba and the Gulf of Suez. Back then, that was all known as the Red Sea. That they didn't have different names. That was all known as Red Sea.
Nick,
Go ahead.
On that map, is there a ledger to tell you how many miles to the inch or something like that? I don't see it.
No, I don't. That I don't have, Dan.
I'm assuming, obviously, we're making some assumptions here, but let's say a group of people of about at least 1.5 million to move quickly is probably a difficult thing to do. So I'm just supposing that from the Ramses, they says they left from Ramses to the time they got to the sea, I'm going to say is at least a 3-day journey And then when they're washed in the sea and baptized in the sea and unto Moses, they're resurrected on the other side after 3 days. Just throwing something out there for some thought.
Yeah,
I just wanted to see if there was a ledger there to see how long that trip would take.
yeah, I got one of those there, and it's running about 60, 70 miles to the
60 or
tip of,
70 miles.
yeah,
From
So,
where?
from where they started in Ramses
Mhm.
to the tip of the Gulf Suez. So right at that tip there where they crossed over that tip was about 60 miles.
So
Yeah.
you think they moved, you think that, go ahead, Mark, you got something to say?
Yeah, I got a question, Nick.
Yeah.
So based on this diagram, where are they suggesting they crossed and the Egyptian armies got destroyed? I mean, it would have had to been a major body of water
Right.
to accomplish
To
that.
do
So-
that, to do
Huh?
that, correct, that's correct.
Near
Had to be-
Ezion Geber.
The what?
Near Ezion Geber.
Near Ezion Geber. That's where their research shows over at the top of the Gulf of Aqaba is where they found chariot wheels and whatever. And that
Oh,
is the most likely, the bottom line that goes across the Sinai Peninsula.
So you're saying over here? In
Yes.
this area? Okay.
Yes.
oh, wow, okay.
Because there's this guy's name is Timothy Mahoney, and he's done a whole lot of research in the last 20 years about the 3 possible places they could have crossed. And the most likely one is that one that's down near Ezion Geber.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you another guy's theory. And I tend to believe this guy because he's gonna show his things on it. Let me bring up the other map where he says they crossed. Let's see. Now, you see, they come down and they put Sukkot as a little bit over more.
You didn't change the map, Nick.
I didn't change the map?
No. No.
Let me see, I hit it and it.
Hey, Nick. Nick,
You know, yes.
wouldn't they cross at the least amount of water? From
Well,
side to
God,
side?
wait a minute. God told him, we got to read the verse on it. Let me see if right now you're seeing the same map? I could take it off.
Yeah, the map hasn't changed, Nick.
All right, let me go back and let's see if I can eliminate the map completely then. Want to make sure I don't eliminate the right one. I think that,
You know, to Craig's point, the least amount of water, I would say no, because God was performing a miracle. The
It
least
also
amount of
had to
water-
be deep enough, it had to be deep enough for the Egyptians to be drowned.
Exactly, exactly.
No, not depth-wise, but lengthwise, from side to side.
That would still require a certain amount of depth, which would mean that it's a substantial body of water.
okay, can you see that map?
No, I see you.
Oh, great.
No.
No.
Where's our
Maybe I'm
tech?
not-
I'd rather see the
maybe
map.
I'm not sharing it or something. Let's see.
You know, Nick, I learned how to share, Nick.
I said share screen.
I meant that like little kids look to teach them how to
Yeah.
share.
Let me see if I can do it now. Right now we're all on. So let me see if I hit share and I pull up.
There we go.
You could see it?
I see a schedule.
The schedule.
That's not it.
Scheduling made easy. I don't know how that works.
No, that's not
Something
it.
just
Oh,
Almost
there.
had it, Nick.
How about now?
Nope.
It came up and then went away.
Something flashed quick and left.
Okay. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Let me pull it off again and let's see if I can.
It must be wrong, Nick. That's why you can't put it up.
Nick,
Yeah.
while you're trying
Okay.
to find that, Nick,
What's that?
while you're trying to find the map, did we answer the question why the shortest route was through the land of the Philistines, right?
Right.
You said that earlier.
Yeah.
But But what, did we answer, what was the reason why they didn't cross, whether it was 1.5 million or 2 million people? Why they were harnessed, it says in 13:18, so they were armed, partially armed at least, probably not all of them were armed, but was it because that, do we think that God didn't want them to face war and lose heart as they just
I think we read that somewhere some last week.
Yeah,
Sam.
that was that last week we read that.
Is that chapter 12?
read what?
Where that verse was.
I'm trying to find that, Nick.
Yeah.
Keep trying to get your
Was
map
it-
up.
Was it that Israel wasn't prepared to fight an all-scale war after
it
they?
says there, it was so close to Egypt that he felt that if they went into war immediately, that they would want to go back to Egypt.
Okay, that's what you.
God felt that, so knew that how they were.
Nick,
Yes.
God tested the Egyptians to see if they would obey him or not. In a similar manner, God had to test the Israelites to see if they would obey him or not. And in order for the test to proceed, they needed 40 years of trials. And that's why God sent them traveling in the wilderness of sin, wherever it is, for 40 years before they were permitted to enter the promised land. So Israel had to be tested similarly to the way the Egyptians were tested to see which way they would, whether they would serve God or serve themselves.
All right.
Sam, that verse that you're looking for is in 13:17.
17. Why don't you read it? Who pulled it up? Read it, please.
And it came to pass when Pharaoh had let the people go, that God led them not through the way of the land of the Philistines, although that was near, for God said, lest the people repent when they see war and they return to Egypt.
That's it. That's it.
Okay.
I got a question, Nick.
Yeah, John.
How
Can you
many
see
days
that
does it
now?
take for them to? Is there any way to tell how many days it took for them to get to where they had to cross the Red Sea? Because if it was the Gulf of what, Aqaba there,
right?
They're saying there's two places,
right?
It would take them like months to get there, right? How many miles is that? With a group
Yeah,
of
that
people
doesn't seem
large?
likely, John. I think you got a good point, John. It doesn't seem likely. That's what I'm saying. It's a
Well,
couple
they
of
took it
days.
back. You're thinking they're going after him that quick, but you got to think also how the Egyptians buried their dead. They just didn't stick them in the hole.
Well, I don't think Pharaoh would have had too much time to cool down. He didn't cool down. He went right after him.
All right. So, okay, so you're thinking that's not the spot they
Yeah,
crossed?
Ezzy and Geber doesn't sound logical to me. It's not the first body of water they would have had to cross.
Right, and that was a little more than 300 miles.
Yeah, that's way out of line. They might have found wagon wheels there, but they could find wagon wheels elsewhere as well.
No, well, I wanted to show you, and I just can't get it up, so I'm gonna tell you about it then. They could.
Go ahead, Nick.
All right. So right now, all I got is 4 people on the screen.
Yeah, I got a blank screen. Ron Wyatt, the Red Sea crossing. That's what you're trying to show?
Yeah, that was what I was trying to show. That's what you're seeing?
Black. It's all black.
Oh,
If you're sharing the screen, Nick,
Right
then
here?
you're-
Yeah, it's all
you don't get
black.
Everybody's picture.
how about
There it
that?
is. All right,
There you
now
go.
something come up. What's it,
Oh.
a video?
Can you see it?
Yep.
No,
There it is.
Is there an audio with it?
Yeah, do you hear it?
No.
You can't hear it.
No.
When you go to share your
There it is.
application, you have to go share sound in the bottom left-hand corner.
All right, let me pause it. So I got to go share my audio. You said they share it where now? Someone just told me something and I didn't hear it all.
Uncle
Who's that?
Nick, you have to unshare what you're doing and then reshare it. When you hit share on the bottom left, you'll see share sound.
All right, so I got to unhit it. So I got to take it down.
Yeah, so unshare your screen.
Let's see.
Here, try now. Do it again.
Okay, so now share the screen
Yeah.
and
See where it says share sound on the bottom left.
I get share. Oh yeah, okay. Share sound. All right.
And optimize for video clip as well while you have it there.
Okay. And you're sharing screen. You could see this now or what?
Yeah, can see it.
Yeah.
All right, so.
That all the armies of the Lord went out from the land of Egypt. On the day of Passover, the children of Israel crossed the canals of the Nile and became an organized unit at Succoth. They had left the country of Egypt proper, but they were still in territory controlled by the Egyptians. So God led the people around by way of the wilderness of the Red Sea. The wilderness of the Red Sea is what we call today the Sinai Peninsula, which is surrounded on two sides by the Red Sea. It was through the northern region of the peninsula that they traveled day and night, making their rapid escape from the hands of Pharaoh. During the day, they were shaded by the pillar of cloud that would have also provided moisture for them. At night, the pillar of fire would have given them light for their journey. At Etham, they turned south and headed through the mountains in the wilderness of the Red Sea, traveling through a narrow canyon, then stopping at the Red Sea. This expanse of water is called the Gulf of Aqaba today, but in Moses' day, it was called the Red Sea. King Solomon also built a fleet of ships at Ezion-Geber, which is near Elath, on the shore of the Red Sea, in the land of Edom. Ancient Elath is modern-day Eilat, Israel. Our modern Gulf of Aqaba is the ancient Red Sea, or Yam Suf. This is the beach where the children of Israel were trapped with nowhere to escape. The Egyptian army was fast approaching, and it appeared death was imminent. The children of Israel cried out, "Because there were no graves in Egypt, have you taken us away to die in the wilderness? Why have you so dealt with us to bring us out of Egypt?" The children of Israel were already out of Egypt when they were preparing to cross the Red Sea. This would exclude any crossing of the Bitter Lakes or the Gulf of Suez. It was at this site that God was preparing to demonstrate to prove his loving care for them. This is the large beach on the Gulf of Aqaba, called Nuweiba, Egypt. This is where it appeared that the forces of darkness were about to be triumphant, but God was in control. Across the Gulf is the land of Midian and the holy mountain of God. They were to camp between Migdol and the sea, Migdol meaning a fortified city or tower. At the north end of the beach are the remains of an ancient fort, still partially standing today. It was once a 3-story structure, capable of housing hundreds of Egyptian soldiers who could have prevented any northern escape from the beach. The location is precisely at the narrowest point of land, between the mountains and the sea, in order to control the movement of travelers through the area. The fortress today is receiving a fresh coat of stucco, which is unfortunately covering up the original stone blocks. At the front of the fortress, we were able to see the stonework that formed the entrance into the structure. In the middle of the courtyard, we can see an ancient well that would have supplied the fresh water for the many Egyptian soldiers that were housed here. Outside, we can see how tall the structure had been in its former days, a full 3 stories in height. Another description of the location for the Red Sea crossing was Camp before Pi-Hahiroth, which means mouth of a hole or canyon. As the children of Israel entered the beach, they had made their way through a system of canyons or wadis and encountered this beach at the Red Sea. The Bible tells us, "They are entangled in the land, the wilderness hath shut them in." They had finally made it through the canyons that snaked their way through the mountains, but now they were trapped on the beach. And the angel of God who went before the camp of Israel moved and went behind them, and the pillar of cloud went from before them and stood behind them. So it came between the camp of the Egyptians and the camp of Israel. It was here that the pillar of cloud blocked the Egyptians from advancing toward the children of Israel. For there was on each side a ridge of mountains that terminated at the sea, which were impassable by reason of their roughness, and obstructed their flight. There must have been excitement as they reached the beach at the sea, but that soon turned to gloom as they discovered their plight. They were trapped on the beach, awaiting their death at the hands of Pharaoh. From the middle of the beach, we can see the opening of Pi-Hahiroth in the distance, but we head south in order to locate an amazing marker here at the beach. Near the road, we see this large pillar. 78 during his first visit to this beach. It had fallen down and was lying in the edge of the water, but today it is about 500 feet from the sea and has been set in concrete. Features of the red granite pillar include the fact that it is of Phoenician or Hebrew design and is 3,000 years old. It was placed here for a reason, to mark the location of the crossing of the Red Sea on dry ground. This pillar is even mentioned in the Bible, a pillar to the Lord at its, Egypt's border. At the south end of the beach is where we can see the pillar. A matching column on the other side of the Gulf in Saudi Arabia was found by Ron Wyatt in 1984 and was shown to Saudi authorities. On the Saudi pillar were Hebrew inscriptions which included the words Pharaoh, Mizraim or Egypt, Moses, death, water, Yahweh, Solomon, and Edom. The inscriptions on this column have been removed, since the Egyptians living here were not excited about a Hebrew celebration marker, located in their own backyard. Using Google Earth, one can zoom in on the beach here and spot the pillar standing near the road. This is an exciting use of technology to see the Bible come alive.
Yeah, forget about it.
But yeah, wait, John. That's
That's
just
it. That pillar, I mean, that pillar wouldn't be standing today if that thing was that old, you know?
well, that one they found down, but that's not the.
A short distance downhill, we come to the edge of the water where a wonderful miracle took place, where the Lord provided protection to his people, even though they were angry and complaining. Are you not the one who dried up the sea, the waters of the great deep, that made the depths of the sea a road for the redeemed to cross over? For centuries, this beach has been named for the crossing of the Red Sea at this exact spot. On Google Earth, we can see the name Nuweiba at this point on the beach. This older, detailed map reveals to us the complete name of the beach. Nuweiba is short for Nuweiba al-Muzayina. The name on this beach, Nuweiba al-Muzayina, gives us confirmation that we are in the correct location. The translation of that name means waters of Moses opened. This is where the waters opened by the hand of God. The Lord demonstrated to his people that he would be their protector. We have confirmation that we are at the correct location. Moses once stood here with the children of Israel, and the water was opened before them by the hand of God. An amazing testimony of truth. Depth charts of the Gulf of Aqaba show the Elat Deep to the north and the Aragonese Deep to the south. Between these two deep areas is a path through the sea. When Ron Wyatt was at this spot in 1978, he decided to inspect the water.
It blanks out once in a while with the sound, but it will come up again.
Is very clear with high visibility. Investigations have revealed artifacts which confirm our previous conclusions about the site. The seafloor is smooth and contains gradual contours. Our first artifact to inspect is this chariot wheel that still has 3 of its 4 spokes, plus the hub is extending upward. We see 90-degree angles here, which are a sign of man-made structure. The Lord looked down upon the army of the Egyptians, and he took off their chariot wheels. The chariot wheel with 6 spokes was the most widely used by the Egyptians. Egyptian chariots were known to use metal hubs in the center of the wheels. Using metal detectors, divers have found metal in the raised hubs that are now covered in coral. Here we see another 4-spoked chariot wheel with 1 spoke missing and a center raised hub. The coral here has preserved the chariot parts by retaining the man-made structure, even after the wood has disappeared. Here we see another wheel suspended on its axle, standing at attention. It has 6 spokes and a raised center hub. Ron Wyatt made many dives here and located many artifacts. This could have once been a chariot cab. This appears to be another round chariot wheel. Horse remains have also been found here, such as this shrunken hoof. Horses are not in the Sinai Peninsula today. Human remains have also been found, such as this coral-covered femur bone on the right. Lab tests confirmed that it is in fact bone. Other bones have also been found. A cross-section reveals the bone inside the coral. Here we see a chariot wheel standing on its axle in this old 1978 footage shot by Ron Wyatt. Next, we see an 8-spoke wheel with 1 spoke missing. 8-spoke wheels were only used during the 18th dynasty, the time of the Exodus. The premier find here at the crossing site is this gold veneer that was left behind from a 4-spoke chariot wheel. The Bible tells us there were 600 choice chariots used in the chase of the children of Israel. This artifact was left behind at a depth of 200 feet. Since specialized equipment would be necessary to raise it to the surface, today it is still in the location where it was found. Since there are chariot parts on this side of the Red Sea crossing, could there be other chariot parts on the other side of the Gulf, showing a continuation of artifacts? On the shore opposite of Nuweiba, inspection of the seafloor in Saudi Arabia has also been conducted to see if chariot parts can be found on this side of the Red Sea crossing. While investigating the Saudi Arabian waters, Viveka Pontian found this beautiful round chariot wheel specimen with a raised center hub. This is confirmation of the chariot parts continuing to the other side of the crossing site, opposite Nuweiba. By confirming the location of the Red Sea crossing, one is then able to conclude without a doubt that the real Mount Sinai must be over in Saudi Arabia, in Midian, just as the Bible says.
Okay, I can't get his back up on my screen. Let's see. Todd, I'm having a problem getting back on the screen.
I see you in the corner there.
I'm in the corner. Okay, there I am.
Yeah. All right.
All right, so I took that one there. That was about a 12-minute thing. I've tried to get it shorter. They have a bunch that you can go on there and look at. The evidence, follow the whole thing. It seems pretty to me, that's probably where they crossed. I mean, you're looking at, short glimpses of these things. If you look at the longer ones showing the coral, those corals are only on those objects. There's no coral around them. The other thing that was amazing about it is, and I don't know if you caught it when he was explaining it, there's like a bridgeway across there. If you go to either side of it, it drops down like 5,000 feet. And they went to the other parts. They went to the, there's one at the Gulf of Aqaba at the base going into the Red Sea. They said, oh, that was like the shortest distance. They wanted it to cross, see if they crossed there. And they went down. There was too much rock down there, they said. This one's more sand. And the other thing was the incline. They said the incline for the chariots and for the people to go up and down would have been, I think, a 6% grade, you were saying. I mean, you're talking something 3,500 years ago. You're not going to find, the artifacts are just the coral that cover it because the wood is all gone. That veneer wheel, that was a veneer gold that was down there. They couldn't touch that thing. It would fall apart because it was just a veneer. So that's what they found there. I mean, compared to what we were seeing before, where they were saying it was at other places, they do have artifacts there that they couldn't, you can only do it in, that was done in 1978. That dives that he originally started on it, looking. And it was like, they didn't find that other pole on the other side till 1984, because, Saudi doesn't allow people just to go in and do things. But that was standing there too. So, you could take whatever you think of it. But to me, it seemed like a lot of evidence about something, especially how the beach was made. They go into explanation of that. How do you get that many people on a beach to cross?
My question would be, is how it's by the scale that I've got, it's showing it 8 to 10 miles wide.
8 miles wide, yeah.
Is that what it is, 8 miles?
Yeah, I said 8 miles.
So how long would it take 800,000 people to cross 8 miles?
Well, in the Bible, it says it took them what, the night? Wasn't it one night?
Yeah.
Across. I don't know. That's quite a bit to fathom up. But it seemed, it seemed
well,
more
God's,
other places you were saying. Go ahead.
With God's hand in it, I could probably understand it.
Nick?
Yes.
We always recognize that the children of Israel wandered in the Sinai Peninsula, that area, Padanaram, that area, for 38 years after the spies.
Right.
If they crossed the Enzi and Gibeah, that means they would have been wandering in Saudi Arabia. I don't think that's exactly. And again,
that map that I was trying to bring up, Dan, that map I was trying to bring up, it shows where they go up north and go across into it. But that's it's speculation. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think that's a lot of speculation.
So
3-day journey getting across there with 1.5 million people, kids, cattle. They're not moving very fast.
I know, but how small an area? They had to be in a large enough sea to drown all the.
Well, when we were in Mount Sinai, Sam, you might remember this. They did have an area, a plain area where they could have made an encampment for that many people. They did show us that. I don't know if you remember that, Sam.
Where was that? In Sinai?
Sinai.
Yeah, they said that was the one they said that Helena picked out, and then they built the 400. They built that
the monastery.
Monastery there to officiate where she said it was. But that, that's really speculation because all the sites are off.
There's one thing we do know. Whatever
Yeah.
body of water it was deep enough to make a miracle to open it up, and deep enough to drown all the Egyptians and their chariots and their horses. So
Oh, yeah.
it was
That's
a
no
substantial body of water. That's probably the only factual thing we can come away with.
Oh, yeah. I thought I brought that up for because today they have the equipment to go down and take pictures of that stuff. Whereas back then when they were picking out places, they had no way of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the strange thing is, they're digging in our excavations in Israel where cities are buried under meters or yards of dirt and debris over the last 2,000-3,000 years. That's going back over almost 4,000 years.
Yeah, it's like 3,500.
And, yeah, and for that thing to still be visible without being covered up from silt doesn't seem likely.
What's that? The
Wagon wheels, that sort of thing. They're visible. They're visible at the ground level. That this silt would have buried them under 10 feet of silt by that time.
It's coral now. The other thing they mentioned about coral too, that you go down to the Sea of Aqaba down at the end, they said it's all kinds of coral over everything, but coral only grows on certain things. There's none running across the bottom of that sand. Then it's speculation. It's just something I thought that looked good that,
It's interesting how they do that. I agree. It's interesting how they try to find all that stuff, but.
Well, I got a question about that tower though. There's no way that tower would remain standing after all that time.
That they said it was
so
from Solomon's
there was
time.
any kind of writing on it.
On Solomon's time, they said.
Solomon's time it was?
Yeah, they said that's his name.
Oh, okay.
Solomon was at the base of it. And that's why they were mentioning up by a lot. That's where Solomon's ships were.
Right.
And they said that's where.
I got one other question, and I looked it up. It's in Exodus 18. Remember when Jethro helped Moses with figuring out how to judge all those people?
Right.
All right. And so what happened? It says Moses hearkened to the voice at the end of the chapter, to the voice of his father-in-law, did all that he had said. And Moses chose 8 men out of all Israel, made them heads over the people, rulers of thousands, right, and hundreds.
Right.
And he judged the people at all seasons in the hard cause brought unto Moses. And Moses let his father-in-law depart, and he went his way into his own land. So in other words, if he went to Midian, Mount Sinai was in Midian, how's he going back, to his own land? Like it's the same place. So I'm thinking that Moses went to Mount Sinai from Midian when he first went there, when he was in the wilderness. And I just don't see how they can, how that jives with him going back to his own land.
Right.
If he's already in his own land. You know what
Well,
I mean?
the questions we're going to come up on, we ran a little bit longer than I wanted to tonight. And we're going to come back to that too. We're going to come back to about Jethro because we talked about him before, but we're over time right now. And sorry for the technical difficulties. It shouldn't have taken that long, but that's what.
We'll take a few minutes to visit.
Good thought, John.
So we'll talk about this again. Meanwhile, Mark, why don't you close with a prayer, Mark?
Gracious Heavenly Father, can we come before you to offer you thanks for this opportunity of gathering together, though under the Zoom. We realize that we would love to get together physically, but unfortunately due to the circumstances, but we appreciate this opportunity, especially meeting with our brethren and sisters from all over, from brothers and sisters and all. We pray, Father, you'll hope that all these things that we've discussed may have strengthened us, helped us in our faith to follow your precepts until your Son returns, and we hope that day comes soon. We ask all these things in his name, even Jesus. Amen.
Okay. So tonight we tried something different. And so normally we just talk it all out. And next week, that's where we'll continue, bring us up to that point.
we could talk about it next week, Nick, but I noticed it doesn't mention Pharaoh dying with the Egyptians in chapter 14. At least I'm not finding it. But it is mentioned in Psalms 136 that he overthrew Pharaoh and his host in the Red Sea. So did Pharaoh die with the Egyptians in the Red Sea? It seems like it says it in Psalms 136, but I don't see it in
Well, we can
Exodus 14.
pick that question up next week,
Yeah, we
Sam.
can bring it up next week.
Okay.
Hello,
Hey,
brother
Nick.
Jim, sister Alice.
Hi, how are you?
How are you?
Good.
Hey, Alice, Jim.
He's my bunkmate.
Hi, Joe. Nice to see you.
Hi, David.
Class.
David Hill. Hi.
You guys can unmute. It's
Hey,
okay
Martha.
to speak. And we still have freedom of speech in the United States. You guys can speak. Unmute yourself. You can still speak.
No, they're quarantined.
Still thank you for the class. It was very well done.
Am I counting the right amount of people? Looks like we got 75 people on this.
I have 51 on my, it says participants, 51.
I got 3 screens of 25. Could it be?
So I don't know how you count.
Says there's 50 right now.
15, 20,
We
25.
got 2 screens that fit. There's
There were
50.
64 total.
Your brother.
Hey, wait, I just saw my cousin Angela. Hey, Angela, where are you? Where'd you
Oh,
go?
it's 2 screens.
I'm
2
here.
screens.
I just saw your face.
Over 50, yeah.
Hey, Angela. Hey, Ange.
Hi.
Where'd
Hi,
you go?
Ange.
Oh, there she is.
Hi, Ange.
Hi, Angela.
Frank, say hi to everybody.
Where is he? Frankie!
Hey, cool.
Hey,
Hey, cool. Where are you?
¿Cómo está?
Okay.
Come and sit over here.
Where is he? Where'd he go?
Move the camera. The
There he is.
There he is.
Cool.
Hey, you see it?
Brother Frank.
There he is.
You got no hair on your head.
Hi, Aunt Angela and Uncle Frank.
I don't know, but he's talking. Hi, Angela, Frank.
Paul and Roseanne.
Oh, you're
Hi,
shy.
Jim.
Unmute yourself.
I did.
You want to go, if you just want to go.
I can.
Frank, are you playing some bocce at least?
What?
Play a little bocce?
Just hi to Aaron.
Hi, Brother Ken.
Hello.
Hi, Aunt Lindsay.
Are they talking to you, Ron?
They're talking to everybody.
No,
Tim
I'm in
Rogers.
the dorm.
Hi.
I think this is like a modern day Tower of Babel.
Well done, Danny. Well done.
Danny.
Hey, we want to mention that Brother Craig Seidenberg, I don't see his face, but this morning he was rushed by ambulance to the
Oh,
hospital
come on.
with a faint, he
He's
fainted,
okay. I
yeah.
spoke to him a little while ago. He's
No, but
okay.
I'm saying, I talked to him as well, but I'm just saying, he was on the screen earlier. He was zooming in from the hospital.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're kidding.
Yeah, he was
Yeah. He's
zooming.
on there now. It's just his name is on there.
For him.
That shows you his fortitude. I
All
mean,
right,
he
Craig.
went to
There he
the
is.
hospital,
There he is.
but he
Hey,
still
hey,
made
hey.
Bible class.
Hey, Craig.
He still
Hey.
made Bible
Craig.
class.
Oh, my goodness. Greg, hope you're all right.
Seidenberg.
There he is.
His hat on.
There he is.
Hi, David Hill.
Oh, hi, Craig.
How are you?
Okay.
Yeah. Craig, you get the award for something.
Oh,
It's
wow.
Marcia. Marcia.
Dude, yes.
Wow.
Everybody.
There he goes. Greg
Hey,
Seidenberg.
Martha, I think you got a new recruit for RVA Light coming, huh?
Yes, yeah. Next Monday, right? I think.
No, he's
Justin
been
said he
here
left
since this Monday,
yesterday, I think.
Martha.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, he was there the last 2 days.
He was
Okay.
good.
They can't-
How's Ron McPhee? Well, what am I supposed to do here?
Where's Ron?
Just say
We
hi.
can hear you.
Hi, Ron.
Oh, yeah. We're doing very well. Debbie and I feel relatively young with all these 70-year-olds. Yeah, so it's really good to see. I still remember crossing the border with Joe Arabia in the 50s. And we had a, well, I won't go into all the details.
got
but
stopped.
when we showed up on the other side of the border coming from the Canadian Bible School, the U.S. Immigration people said, "Where are you from?" "I'm from Toronto." And Joe, where are you from? What's that little island on south of the boot?
Sicily.
Sicily.
Sicily?
And Joe said, "I'm from Sicily." So
Pull over.
the conversation really got extended.
I was there in the car with Ron and Joey. And Ron and I sat in the car for what seemed to be hours and hours and hours while the border custom people in the United States grilled Joey for, I think it was at least an hour, maybe 2 hours. Finally, they decided he wasn't part of the mafia.
I have a feeling that Joe seized this opportunity to proclaim the second coming of our Lord.
Oh.
Kept the faith.
Brother Sam, do you remember crossing the border with like six, I don't know, like a bunch of Operation Onesimus, and they were mostly young girls, and they were questioning Sam, like, what do you remember that, Sam?
Yes, I do.
He does.
One of them was Debbie LaBall.
Debbie LaBall.
Right?
Sure.
Yeah. She was 16, and she tells that story about, yeah, Sam, I don't know. They were really wondering about this guy bringing all these young women across the border.
50 years ago.
That was, yeah, at least 50 years ago.
Oh. George Esty did one of those crossing the border. They asked George, "Who are you? Where are you going?" "I am a sojourner in a strange land," and they sojourned him right under the spotlight real quick.
Wow.
That was George. Who would answer like that?
Craig. Hi, Craig. Hope you're okay. I see him. He's waving.
Yeah.
He fainted.
He fainted. He took him to the hospital.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, all right.
He's all right. Oh,
Yeah, thumbs up.
And they did a brain scan. They didn't find nothing.
That's what I figured.
I have a question for
Okay.
Aaron Vest. Aaron Vest, who is your father?
So I belong to Josh and Mary Jane, who.
Josh Vest. Okay.
Yes, Josh Vest,
Okay.
the eldest of Josh and Zach Vest, who belong to
Okay.
Linda and Randy.
To know that. Okay.
He's okay. We'll vouch for her.
Oh, wow.
I appreciate that. I appreciate being vouched for.
So there's the Canadian group. Do you guys once a month go to another Bible class? I think what the James was saying is that periodically you guys tune into another Ecclesia's Bible class?
This is the first time.
Oh, really? I think it's a great idea. It's a great idea.
Might be the last after this.
Yeah.
It's a great idea. Great idea.
Yes, it was.
James was on he was one of the people. Where did he go? Where's James Farah?
Right here. Thank you for hosting this, Mr.
James
Randolph.
Farah. There
Thank
you
you.
go.
And Brother Nick, thank you for the class. It was really interesting. I'm gonna send you an email because I think there's a little proof of the case you were making in Galatians chapter 4.
All righty.
Mount Sinai is described as Mount Sinai in Arabia, and many people think that indicates it is in Saudi Arabia today, not in the Sinai Peninsula. That's just one little clue, perhaps, that Mr. Wyatt's thesis was correct. I know you didn't get universal support tonight, but
I know, that's okay.
it takes a while to think about it.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're too used to the movie, James. That's why, you know what I mean?
Brother Taggart, what's the Canadian school up to?
On the east side of the Gulf of.
Unfortunately, I'm sure you got our memo so far that it's going to be online this year.
Be online?
Yeah, we heard.
Really?
Virtual.
I don't like that.
So we understand that a lot of things are opening up more in the United States, but trying to get the Canadians
Not
across
there.
the border is going to be a whole different story.
Okay.
It's still closed up, the Canadian border?
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally closed up. Try to come visit us.
Yeah. Did you guys get shots?
No migrants, no migrants allowed.
Telling you from Sicily. Like Joe did.
Yeah, well, we're from Sicily.
We got turned around, Glenn.
We
Well,
We're gonna try again. My grandchildren don't understand why we can't come across and visit.
Aw.
yeah, yeah.
It's a hard thing to accept.
Hope you got a chunk of change in your wallet, because you got to stay in a place for that they pick for 3 nights. It's like $500 a night.
Wow.
Really?
Canadian funds.
Yes.
Can you enter from another country? Like if you flew to England and then went to Canada, would that be okay?
Same thing.
Same thing,
Same
yeah.
thing.
So
Once
it's
you
just
get
shut
there,
off all the
you're
Commonwealth,
done the
all
3
the,
days, then you do 14 more.
yikes.
Well, we could get a private
Vaccinated?
plane and parachute over you.
Vaccination doesn't matter yet.
Not easy.
Well, I just want to say one thing. I really appreciate seeing the faces I have not seen for literally years. And it proves to me one thing, that relationships that began 40, 50 years ago still hold true today. And it's like almost like I've been with you guys since the beginning. And it's really a very heartwarming thing to see such a connection. Great to see everybody.
That's true, Mark. You pick up where you left off as if it was yesterday.
The days of
Aaron,
Halliburton.
these are your grandparents' generation.
Yeah.
I got that one. Being the youngest face on
But
here, yeah.
but that shows you how strong friendships are.
Yeah.
That their grandchildren are watching their grandparents' friends.
Hey, Ronnie.
I would think that the hope of Israel is the preeminent matter that drives us together.
Hi, Marge.
I've got to sign off for the night, but thank you all for having us.
Nice
I
to
really
see
enjoyed
you.
the discussion.
Bye-bye.
Enjoyed it too.
Aaron?
Good night.
Nice to see everybody.
Hey, good night.
Good night. Bye, Angela and Frank.
Good night,
Bye.
Thank you. Take care.
Okay.
Nice to see you.
I'll be with you all.
Nice to see you, Sam.
Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you.
Tim Robbins.
Good to
Hey,
see
Mary.
Great. Great.
Hey, Mark.
And Mark,
Hey, Allison, Jim.
Hi, nice to see you.
Mark, that was the class that you gave a couple of months ago, building those relationships, in the ecclesia.
Yeah.
Mentor, and making a relationship with somebody older than you, and they go on for 50 years, like you say.
Alice.
It grows those ties, commonality that we're all walking to the kingdom with,
Yeah.
Sometimes it's lost. The generation after us maybe is not as efficient as doing that as we were.
Well, the other thing that hits you is look at the variety of people on the screen.
Yeah.
All have the common hope of Israel. That to me just, we are totally different in background than Martha or Marcia, totally different backgrounds. But we've all come to the same conclusion and all have the same purpose of life.
Be in the kingdom together. Be in
That's
the
right.
kingdom together. That's right.
Love for each other, that people we some of them that we've never met, and some of them that we haven't seen for years. It's
Yeah.
just, the bond is always there. That's what,
Yeah.
that's what God wants.
Most people knew my parents, Olin and Marilyn Rogers.
Olin, right? Yeah, Olin was my teacher at the Sandy Island Bible School.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yep.
Nice.
You're Olin's son?
Yeah,
Wow. Oh.
yeah.
Tim, how long is your father gone?
I'm sorry?
How long is your father gone?
He's been gone since 2013.
2013.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh, I remember him at Sandy Island Bible School.
yeah, yeah.
Good to meet you.
Nice.
Nice to see you.
Sam, are you doing, you're taking Romans on Sunday, Sam?
What's that?
Are you gonna do Romans Sunday school? You gonna start
Yeah.
Romans?
Yep.
Okay. Run that, and when you're, I'll set up somebody else when you're done.
All right.
It was great to join you guys.
Yeah.
Tim, where are you living, Tim?
Tim, where do you live? Are you in New England? Where are you?
I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, you are? Okay, Massachusetts. Okay.
Where?
Worcester,
Massachusetts.
Worcester?
Oh, okay, you're still.
Worcester, Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Okay.
A pleasure.
Yeah, it's good.
Nice having everybody.
Good night, Nick. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Nick.
you, Nick.
All right, good to see everybody.
See you next time.
All right.
Shalom.
Hey, don't forget, to tune in again. We'd love to see you.
Shalom.
All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Be good.
Margie
Hey,
and
Seidenberg, watch out with the medication, will you?
Johnny boy. We're still waiting, John.
what's that?
We're still waiting. That's all. We're still keeping the faith, you know.
Patiently waiting.
Well,
There's
we
the
gotta
three-
do that. That's what we gotta do, you know?
The three guys with the
Gotta
same
encourage
birth.
people, everybody.
Hey, that's right. Yeah, we're all born the same day.
Yeah.
How come you look older than me?
I say it's April 8th, right?
April
8th.
And we're all cousins too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, April 8th. I'm the oldest brother.
Yeah, Johnny's on borrowed time now.
Yeah.
He says, I'm not gonna let you borrow any from me.
Yeah. 3 score